Welcome to week number 6 of the PGBL. I believe it's week 6. Let me double check because I am completely off track. Yeah, it's week 6 of the PGBL. We're taking on the San Antonio Sevipers, coached by Sneaky. I think his channel name's like Sneaky PM or something like that. I actually don't know the name of his channel. I mean, I'm subscribed to him, but like I don't pay attention to the name, so I apologize about that. But, you know, his channel will be in the description below. I actually met him a couple of weeks ago when I met Josh in Vivid Color. So it's nice to meet another, content creators in real life because I hadn't met one before. So, and they're both in the area, too, which is pretty cool. So that's always awesome. We're coming off a 2-loss skid already. 2 weeks ago, we had that horrible throw, and then of course last week was just awful. I played like crap, and so I'm trying to get over this tilt. So as you can tell, we're actually doing a post-com, or you guys don't know yet, but I'm actually doing a post-com this week because I'm actually going to be in Dallas for the VGC Dallas Regional this weekend. So when these videos go up, PGBL goes up Sunday, XBL goes up Saturday. I'll still be in Dallas. I probably won't be competing on Sunday because I don't know, unless I made cut or something. But you guys will know maybe. I don't know if you guys keep up with VGC. I'm not sure, but probably not. So it's a bit of a I'm just trying to get back into the groove of things. I'm obviously feeling a little down about myself because of how I've been playing the past couple of weeks. So hopefully it does work out. So let's go ahead and go over his roster. I'm sorry I don't have visual of what he has, but I'm assuming you guys just listen. So his team consists of the Mega Mawile, Heatran, which is one of his Z captains, Suicune, Gliscor, Donphan, Honchkrow, Sceptile, Mesprit, Salamence, which is his other Z captain, and Electabuzz. So he's got pretty threatening Z captains, arguably some of the best captains in the entire league, arguably. I mean, I see some pretty good candidates elsewhere, like in Oregon, and in Durham, Leo's team as well is pretty good. But Heatran and Mence are actually pretty damn good as well. So it's something definitely to be on the lookout for and throughout the game. So that's something I do have to be careful of. Mega Mawile, I do have a Trick Room, pretty much a full Trick Room team almost. So that's always going to be a threat. I mean, nonetheless, it's slower than most of my threats, but it's something to watch out for in case I get up Trick Room and I don't have the power to knock it out. So I have to be very careful of that thing if it does show up. Honchkrow is a beast. If it gets up some Moxie boosts, it's able to sweep through my entire team because, as you can tell by the team I'm bringing down below, it actually does 6 off my team if it's able to get Moxie boosts for sure. It needs it probably needs 1 or 2 to be able to sweep for sure with Chip. So I'm also using a new webcam, by the way, so that's why it looks a little different. I'm trying to test out things and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so his team isn't it's got a lot of threats, but stuff like Electabuzz, Mesprit, regular Sceptile, those things I don't have to worry about. It's mainly the Mence, the Mawile, the Heatran, and the Honchkrow offensively. Gliscor and Suicune are stuff that could be very annoying defensively as well, even Donphan, so you've got to be careful of that. So go ahead and jump into my team. We are leading off with Krakatoa, the Mega Camera Up, coming back after a couple of weeks off, so running a 3-attack Stealth Rock set. Stealth Rock is important just to have Chip. He's got pretty good hazard control, but I'm not really too worried about hazard control. I just want to get up rocks mainly for that Mence, mainly for just Chip on Suicune or even Gliscor to keep switching in. Gliscor recovers it off pretty easily, but just having Stealth Rock up would be nice, especially for Honchkrow as well, which is one of the main threats to my squad. Fire Blast, Earth Power, of course it hits his entire roster outside of I guess you can say Salamence, but that is why I do have the Hidden Power Ice on here. That way if I get up Trick Room, I can be able to hit Salamence for super effective damage. I believe Fire Blast still does more than Hidden Power Ice to the Gliscor, so I don't really have to use Hidden Power Ice for that. But in case I don't want to miss and it's really low, I can use Hidden Power Ice. So that's pretty cool. I think Hidden Power Ice might do more, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I have to do a calc on that. But either way, it's already recorded, so it doesn't really matter anyway. So yeah, there's really nothing else to say about it. It's got Stab, Stealth Rock, Hidden Power Ice for Mence, so that's pretty much it to it. So Stylus, we have Bounce Back, the Mew trying to bounce back from these losses. We got Hidden Power, Ice Beam, Earth Power, Roost, and Trick Room. Ice Beam and Earth Power hits his entire squad, bar Suicune, and Suicune is and Mesprit. But Suicune is the one mon that I have some other mons for it. Suicune is definitely one of those threats I have to worry about here, so I got to play smart around that thing. But otherwise, this Mew is awesome. This Mew can do a lot of work to his team. Trick Room is one of my Trick Room setters. Roost, Recovery, Cobra Berry, that way I can at least take a shot from the Honchkrow and fire back with a nice, strong Ice Beam, which does well over 50%. So Mew is very important in this matchup. Its coverage is insane, so Earth Power and Ice Beam will be very useful in this matchup. And then, of course, getting up Trick Room for my Trick Room squad members will be very important as well. I don't have any sort of momentum move like U-Turn or Volt Switch, so that's kind of a problem. But if I play smart, it should work out nonetheless. So next up, we have Shelob, the Arachnid, leading off with a special set this week, and we went with special. Shout out to my front office guys, Aaron Barden and Bill, mainly Aaron for this week. But you know, they build great squads, and it's just up to me to execute. So we opted to go with a special Shelob this week, mainly because I can invest for Ice Beam. Now I can hit Salamence, and I can hit Donphan for more damage in case he wants to run a defensive set. Not that it would really save it from, you know, Arachnid in any way, but you know, just so I can hit off a little bit more damage. Infestation and Toxic is a nice tech for the Suicune. I could Toxic Suicune. If he's not running Rest, it won't. If he's running Rest, it won't really work. But if he's not running Rest, then Toxic will be very effective in taking down that Suicune. And Suicune really can't do much back to me. It can't burn me. I suppose he could run Hidden Power like Electric if you wanted to, or I guess maybe Rock to hit this thing and Thunderous. But I mean, I don't know. It would be weird for him to run coverage for Shelob. I would assume Toxic would be his main move to hit my Arachnid. So Arachnid, he doesn't have the greatest water resist. I mean, Sceptile is a water resist, but like, I mean, Splash Plate, Surf, Water Bubble does a lot to Sceptile, especially after Rock. So, and Sceptile really can't one-shot me back unless he's Rock Slide, like Bandit or something like that, or Acrobatics or something like that. So, you know, overall, this thing does a lot of work to his team. He doesn't have the greatest water resist besides his Suicune and his Sceptile. Mence doesn't really count to me because, you know, after Rocks it doesn't really count. And then, of course, I have Ice Beam. In Trick Room, we can do a lot of work. The main work for it to do is inside of Trick Room, obviously. So that's the plan. So, yeah, pretty good set. Excited to use it. Next up, we have Hariyama, the Hariyama. We have Close Combat, Knockoff, Earthquake, and Ice Punch. This coverage hits his entire squad, as you would probably assume. Now, I know Earthquake probably doesn't make the most sense when Close Combat does enough to Heatran. But it's mainly for the Mawile that I don't have to drop my defenses with Close Combat. So Earthquake could be useful for those two Pokemon. And that's the reason why we have it here. Knockoff, of course, is for his Mesprit to do damage to Mesprit. Because Mesprit is the only Mon, quote-unquote, that walls me. But, of course, Cobra Berry would probably be a nice tech for him if he has it. So, you know, got to be careful of that. But, yeah, Hariyama's been a pretty good member to the squad all season long. So hopefully she can do her part in this week's matchup. Next up, we have the Thundurus coming back, running a sub Nasty Plot Hidden Power Ice Thunderbolt set. Now, this set does indeed sweep his entire squad on paper. Electabuzz, I guess, is the only quote-unquote wall, so I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Electabuzz in this matchup because on paper, all I need is Bolt Beam coverage and it sweeps his entire squad. Now, he has pretty good priority users in Honchkrow and Mawile, so that's the main reason why we do have Substitute on this set, is that way I can avoid those Sucker Punches from knocking me out. And of course, Electrium Z is nice to nuke the Heatran and the Mawile, which could arguably be the tanks that take this set on. So, AV Donphan could be a nice check to this as well, but, you know, maybe he can bring something else or whatever the case might be. And finally, we have returned to Slab, the Kofagrigus running pretty much similar set to what we did last week, but instead of the Hidden Power Flying, we are running the Hidden Power Ice, and we have Nasty Plot this week as well. Nasty Plot, Shadow Ball, and Trick Room. So, again, another possible late-game sweeper because of the set and the coverage, so wouldn't be surprised if this Mon is able to sweep as well. So that is the squad. We have a bunch of Trick Room sweepers, and of course we have a potential outside of Trick Room Mon because this Mon does outrun his entire squad. So that is pretty cool. Bar, I think, Sceptile, I think. So, yeah, so that's the squad. Pretty fun team. I look forward to using mainly the Arachnid set and, of course, the Mew, because Mew's coverage is insane, so hopefully it does work out. So, let's go ahead and jump into the the video recorder. So, let's go ahead and do this. And here is the squad. So, as you can tell, he did opt to bring his team of Honchkrow, Gliscor, Donphan, Suicune, Heatran, and the Mesprit. So, not a lot of surprises, but then again, Mesprit was one of those things to where I was kind of like worried, like not really worried about. Mesprit was kind of just more like, okay, he's going to lead with it, maybe go for Stealth Rock, maybe have some sort of coverage, but to me, that was a little interesting of a bring. It could be maybe like a Cobra Berry set, so check Hariyama, I would assume it would be. Suicune's annoying. He brought double ground, so that's kind of annoying for my Thundurus, so I do have to earn it a little bit in terms of sweeping potential. He didn't bring Mawile, which was interesting to me, but then again, I do have stuff like Cofagrigus, which can kind of check it because of its ability. And then, of course, I have Trick Room Sweepers that can outrun it, like Camerupt, and I believe Araquanid. I could probably deal with it somewhat well. But besides that, I have to be worried about the Honchkrow and the Suicune, because those mons could definitely be annoying if they last a while, and especially if my team gets worn down. If my team gets too worn down by hazards or just, you know, some of his bulkier mons, then Honchkrow could very well sweep this game. So I got to be very careful with that. So without, you know, saying much more than that, let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, I forgot what I led here, but we'll see what happens. So actually no, I remember. So I opt to lead with my Thundurus, as he opts to lead with his beast that is the Honchkrow. So here, I can easily click Thunderbolt if I want to, but I really don't want to risk it. So I decided to go for the substitute, because I assume he's probably either going to Sucker Punch or swap it to one of his ground types. So I get that turn right, which is pretty nice. So here, I really want to click Nasty Plot, but I say to myself, let's just Thunderbolt. I don't want to play around here. I probably could have Hidden Power Ice too. That probably would have made more sense, because at least I get super effective damage off on either Pokemon. So I'm not sure why I didn't do that. It's kind of just like a really scared play on my part. So I do end up going for the Hidden Power Ice here, just to scout for damage, as he does reveal his Ice Shard. So seeing Ice Shard kind of makes me feel like he is Assault Vest, and as you can tell from that damage, he is indeed Assault Vest. So here, my only safe switch in is the Araquanid at this point, because he's not going for Stone Edge. He just won't go for Stone Edge. He's going to go for either Ice Shard, or maybe, I guess Knockoff would be the other play. So my Ice Shard, as you can see, does really no damage. And here, I can safely click the Toxic, because I do not want to click Surf, because let's see if I click Surf or not. I may have clicked Toxic here, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I do click Toxic to try to catch a Suicune, because if I were to click Surf and then try to click Toxic, he could reveal a substitute set. So it was imperative that I caught Suicune on the switch with Toxic. So that's what I do. If he has Rest, that's a problem, but you know, otherwise the Toxic is very nice for me. So I do switch out of here in case he tries to go for Calm Mind, or even Toxic of his own, or to Scald, or whatever the case may be. So I do go into Hariyama, as he does reveal his Toxic. So that's his tech for beating Araquanid, as you can tell there. So here, Toxic, not the biggest deal in the world. You know, Burn would be better for me in terms of longevity, but you know, Toxicking a Mom with Guts, that's kind of my game plan. So here, I could click Close Combat. He really doesn't have a real switch-in outside of, I mean, he has switch-ins, but I didn't want to, you know, drop my defenses. So I do opt to go for the Knockoff, as he does reveal his Protect. So Toxic but Toxic Protect looks to be a very annoying set here. But Protect makes sense on a Trick Room kind of squad, because he's trying to, you know, stall out Trick Room. So it wouldn't surprise me if I see Protect on his Gliscor or even his Heatran. So that's something to note later on in the match. So taking a little bit of toxic damage, a little annoying for my Hariyama, because I'm trying to get some late game kills. So I do opt to click the, I didn't click Close Combat because I'm a chicken. Yeah, I clicked Close Combat because I was stupid. And he makes a nice switch into his Mesprit here. And he does reveal it to be, I believe it's actually Leftovers. So if I click Knockoff again, I'm sure it would have tanked it depending on his spread, but if he wasn't like the max defense set, he probably would have just died to a +1 knockoff, essentially, is what my Guts boost was. So kind of annoying. So here, don't want to lose Hariyama just yet because it does a lot of work. So I do go back into my Sheila because he really can't touch me, being a nice special defensive sponge, as he does go for his Psychic here. So here, I can just click Surf because, like I said before, he doesn't really have great resists anymore now that Suicune is toxic. So I can literally just click Surf without any hesitation whatsoever. So yeah, he goes for the U-turn here. Does a pretty decent chunk to me. So I'm getting a little bit low, which is annoying. But I mean, realistically, Sheila isn't a sweeper. It's just kind of a breaker at this point, and kind of a stall breaker too with toxic. So he goes into Suicune, and as you can tell from this damage right here, this is a Splash Plate boosted Surf Water Bubble. That is a pretty decent amount of damage. Okay, actually, it did no damage, but I don't know why I remember it doing more than that, but anyway, so here I opt to go for the infestation to keep him trapped in here, just to, you know, make sure he doesn't switch out or anything like that. I can ensure Suicune does go down, which in hindsight probably wasn't even the best play because, I mean, like, he wasn't going to switch out, and if he has rest, then me going for infestation doesn't really matter at all, so probably was a misplay on my part. I probably just could click Surf one more time because the damage there would have been okay, but then again, infestation and toxic is always nice, and I probably should have maybe even go back into Hariyama because, you know, I tank Scalds and all that sort of thing, so, you know, unfortunate, but, you know, Shelob's here trying to 1v1 the Suicune, so I do go back into my Hariyama expecting maybe a double toxic or even just a Scald, so I do take the Ice Beam as you reveal Ice Beam on this turn, so Ice Beam does come out. Does a little bit of damage to my Hariyama. So it looks like Suicune's a little bit low here. The toxic damage is going to rack up here. And I can safely just click knock off on this final turn to knock out the Suicune. Because we know it's going to die to toxic. And in case he tries to be a little cheeky and switch into his Mesprit, I can just, you know, knock off that thing and knock it out as well. So goes for his Ice Beam. I knock off the Suicune. And Suicune actually does die there. So that's nice. Suicune goes down. One of the Mons I was worried about before we, you know, started battling. But it didn't end up being a big factor. So Hariyama is a little bit low. One more turn left of damage. So does go to his Gliscor, pretty much telling me he's probably going to just go for Protect, and he does go for Protect, revealing it. He probably didn't have to go for Protect. He probably could have clicked like Earthquake just to not reveal Protect early in the game, but I mean, it was a safe play nonetheless. So my Hariyama unfortunately does go down to toxic damage. So kind of sucks. I kind of wanted Hariyama to be around later in the game, but you know, it is what it is. So here I bring in a Shelob because, like I said before, this Mon is really good now. His water resist is gone. I can click Surf, no problem whatsoever, as he does opt to sack off his Mesprit, which was arguably his best, you know, answer at this point because Mesprit really wasn't doing much for him later in this game anyways because my Hariyama was already down, but he wasn't even Cobra Berry, so it really wasn't a check. It was more of a check to Hariyama, you know, outside of Trick Room rather than inside of Trick Room. So Shelob here is getting a little bit low. I have to click my Surf here to knock out this Mesprit. Goes for Psychic, won't knock me out, and I can knock out his Mesprit in return. But unfortunately for me, I'm going to die to Toxic after I kill this thing. So Toxic has already taken down 2 of my Pokemon. So that sucks, but, you know, Shelob did some work. Toxicking that Suicune was huge because it opened the door. It opens the door for my Camerupt as well as maybe even my Mew later on for the coverage that it has. So that was pretty nice. So here he goes into Hades as I go into my Mew because Mew has the coverage to hit his entire squad. Ice Beam, Earth Power, hits this thing, hits Donphan, hits Honchkrow, hits Heatran. So I do go for the Ice Beam. Ice Beam does well over half damage, does around maybe 75%, 80% as he goes for the knockoff, knocks off my Cobra Berry, does, look at this damage, no damage whatsoever, it does no damage. So that pretty much tells me he's probably like a very, very defensive set because he took a lot from Ice Beam, so he's probably very, very physically defensive. So does go for Protect, you know, it is what it is. A little bit annoying. I probably could have went for Trick Room on this turn. But the thing is, Mew is faster than this Honchkrow with the speed I have. It's faster than Donphan. It's probably not faster than Heatran, so didn't want to go for Trick Room just yet. So do go for the Ice Beam. I probably could have read his switch, but then again, I do have the coverage. I am faster. I don't have to worry about this thing trying to sweep. So I do go for my Earth Power here, and Earth Power does a respectable amount of damage, not too much, so he definitely has a little bit of investment in his set. Goes to the Fire Blast and does indeed miss, which is pretty huge. It's huge because of what's going to happen later on. So he does pivot into his Frank on the Earth Power, which is a good play on his part. But, you know, at this point, I'm feeling pretty good. I can pretty much click Ice Beam on this turn, see how much Sucker Punch does. And Sucker Punch does a pretty damn good amount of damage here. As you can see, the Life Orb is finally revealed on his Honchkrow. So here, after we see this Ice Beam damage, I'm a little bit worried because, you know, Honchkrow is a threat. If I let it get a Moxie boost, it wins the game. So I do go for Roost here. I luckily catch him on that. But the only way he was going to kill Mew without dying would be with Sucker Punch, because I would assume Brave Bird is his other move, and the other two are kind of just a mystery to me. I'm not sure what else he would have. So it does go for the Sucker Punch, catching me on the next Ice Beam, which is a little bit of an annoyance. But, you know, it is what it is. So finally, we knock out the Honchkrow, which was, of course, a big threat to my squad. So getting that thing out of the way was pretty nice for me. But at this point, Mew, his coverage won't be able to last long because I unfortunately am in range of his Ice Shard, which I'm a little surprised that it killed from here. but he must have been like a max attack, max HP investment. But then again, I didn't really calculate, so I'm not really too sure if I would have died anyway. So here, prime opportunity to go into my Call for Gregas and get out my Trick Room and start just doing some damage. But yeah, so goes for the Earthquake as I go for the Trick Room. As you can tell from this damage, I could probably assume that is max attack Donphan because I am max HP Call for Gregas and my base defenses are pretty damn good. So pretty good, you know, indication that it's max attack. So go for my Trick Room, go for Shadow Ball. I probably could have Nasty Plotted. I probably should have Nasty Plotted because I do have the Wiki Berry. So if I Nasty Plotted, I could have just, you know, taken this Earthquake, get my Berry to proc, and just fire off a +2 Shadow Ball after that. And Shadow Ball and Hidden Power Ice do the same amount of damage, you know, base damage-wise. So Shadow Ball was the right play. So my Berry does proc pretty much back to where I was before. So definitely should have went for Nasty Plot there. But, you know, getting damage off is the most important thing. So he goes for Ice Shard. Not sure why. I think he thought he was going to die to Shadow Ball. That's probably why. So as you can see here, he actually does tank the Shadow Ball. So if he would have Earthquake, that would have been really good for him. So I do go for Shadow Ball again. And then him not Ice Sharding again was kind of weird. But, you know, I guess he probably was trying to read maybe the Thundurus coming in. But in Trick Room, I was never going to do that. But anyways, goes into Heatran. And here I can just safely go for the Shadow Ball and try to knock this thing out, depending on how fat it is. But seeing how much Earth Power I did earlier, he probably wasn't going to die to the Shadow Ball. So here he actually reveals the Z Fire Blast. So I guess he didn't want to miss Fire Blast, so this is able to knock out my Call for Gregas. Now at this point, I'm a little bit worried because, well, not worried because Thundurus at this point can win the game. All I have to do is Thunderbolt to Heatran and then Hidden Power Ice Score, and the game's over. So Z Fire Blast isn't able to knock out my Call for Gregas, and that's not really a surprise because of how little Earth Power I did earlier. So that pretty much told me his Heatran was very bulky. So Return to Slab does go down. Heatran's already low, so at this point, Thundurus can win the game. All I have to do is come in, click Thunderbolt, click Hidden Power Ice. That's it. So bring in Thundurus, and I go for the Thunderbolt as he does reveal the Protect. Now, I guess he's trying to pivot around. I guess his only way to win is if he pivots and tries to get leftover or maybe Toxic Recovery on Gliscor to be able to tank and Power Ice. So expecting him to switch out on Gliscor. I do go for the sub. Didn't really have to do that. I'm not sure why I did, but I was kind of expecting him to switch because he's been making these obvious switches all game. So goes for Fire Blast, breaks my sub. You know, a little bit of annoying. So here I go for the Thunderbolt as he does go for Protect. Going for the Scouts. Good play. So here he's trying to just pivot around. So here I'm not going to sub. Going to go for T-Bolt and knock out the Heatran. So a little bit of Protect mind games going on there. So, I mean, you could say it probably wasn't useful at all. He probably could have just ran or something or just, you know, let me kill his Mons. But, you know, his only way out at this point was to be able to tank an HP Ice and attempt to win with his ground types. Because Camerupt was going to die to Earthquake. I mean, it wasn't going to die to Earthquake, but, you know, with 2 Mons left, it would have been able to die to 2 Earth moves. So go for the sub on his Protect because I expected him to Protect. So here, at this point, I can click Hidden Power Ice with no fear. But I have to go for the Nasty Plot to ensure I get the kill on the Gliscor. Hidden Power Ice probably would have killed because given how much Ice Beam from Mew did, and we probably see he is more of a defensive set on his Gliscor. So probably could have went for that. But as you can see here, Knockoff doesn't even break my sub because of my Z Crystal I'm holding. So I can pretty much click the Hidden Power Ice here and win the game, and the Rangers to pick up a 2-0 victory against Sneaky and his San Antonio Sevipers. So we do come off from our 2-game losing streak, so now we move to, I believe it is 4-2 on the season after a 3-0 start and then a 2-loss streak. So next week we do take on Josh once again in Vivid Color, so hopefully we can bounce back from that horrific loss. His team is pretty damn good though, so it's going to take a lot of effort to beat him, but you know, we'll see what happens. And then of course after him we'll have 5 weeks left in the regular season before, you know, we have a chance at playoffs. So hopefully we can stay in the playoff race and hopefully try to win the West and something like that. You know, I'm trying to take it one game at a time though. Trying to get out of the skid, and hopefully this game took me out of the skid. Bit of a weird game. It was a fun game for sure. Sheila was able to do some work, but bit of a team effort. But it was a little bit tricky with those Protect mind games. But nonetheless, it was a good game. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch y'all next week when we face Josh in Vivid Color. Make sure you guys check out Sneaky in the description below. He does a lot of streaming, so if you like interactive content creators, check him out. So, yeah, catch y'all next week. Go Rangers.